Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of Ladder Time. Before I get into it, just want to make a bit of an announcement. I'm going to be shaking up this series starting next week. I want to go from a series where it's been, here are the top tier decks on the ladder. Let me show you why they're good, to more of something like these decks look like they're really good, can be played on the ladder. Let's try it out and see. Something more akin to how we do our Casual Tuesday. The reason for that change is it's a really long season, and there are only so many top tier decks I can really show you guys. But I do want to keep at least one series on my channel where I get to show off these competitive decks. So I just want to open things up a little bit. So I'm going to change the format to include some other competitive decks and whatnot. And also, I think if I open it up a bit, I can show different variations of the same deck. Like, for instance, we already covered a red-green Reanimator deck, but then you have somebody like Dino Bravo who has a Mr. Snuggles variety of it, which that might be a lot of fun to play. So I just want to open this up to other decks. That way I have more material to work with from week to week. The other big shakeup I want to make is I'm going to go from voicing over the instant replays to talking out the live gameplay, again, like I do the Casual Tuesdays. The reason for that one is I just enjoy it so much more. I enjoy explaining what I'm doing, my thought process, why did I make this decision, and these instant replays go so quick. I feel like, I'm just having to catch my breath just to be able to talk to you guys, because as you guys know, I'm not the most fluid speaker out there, but also, so it's just a lot more fun for me to do it that way. So I'm going to try those out. I may use the instant replay still from time to time, especially if I'm playing a control type deck and the games just run really long with it. Just for the sake of time, I might use the instant replays, but for the most part, it's going to be live gameplay from here on out. The other kind of minor changes, I'm going to change the name of the series to reflect the change in the structure. It's now going to be Ladder Thursdays, because, Casual Tuesdays, Ladder Thursdays, at least it makes sense to me. So don't worry, we're still going to get all the competitive decks out there. We're still going to see how things do on the ladder, and it's still going to be a fun series. I really enjoy doing this, so just bear with me. We're going to make a few changes, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. So anyway, on to today's deck. We are going to be playing a pile of mythic rares in this one, otherwise known as Orange-Yellow Aztec Control. One of the most expensive decks I've seen so far, but honestly, it's all worth it. This deck is really, really, really good. I'm amazed with how good this has been, especially against the red-orange mid-range. For our orange, as to what we have in it, I don't think there's really any surprises. We have the Armageddon Angel, couple Seal of Exile, Sign of Pride, Pair of the Gates, pair of Shadowvars, 3 of the Ifrit, Lamp of Wonders, 2 of the Ghoul, which is really good in the meta right now, and also for the Eager Recruits. And for yellow, it's a little bit different than we're used to seeing from yellow from Control deck. We're going to lean a little bit more on our artifacts than some of the other yellow builds. We have an Orbital Jamming Satellite. We have a Model of Duality, which is a really, really good card in this deck. We'll get to that in a minute. We also have 2 copies of the Alama Ring. The rest of yellow is the standard, what you would expect from yellow when they're playing Control. We have a Sapple to Devour, Twin Juna, Twin Blank, 2 Godsbane Transport, 1 Zolia, Scourge of Serpents. We also have the standard 2 Misanthropia, 2 Wonder Drug, 3 of the Mesa Libre, 2 Clay Effigy, and 0 of the Maze. This is actually a list that I got from that came out a little while ago. It was Oniric's list for Aztec Control, and surprisingly, there's not 42 cards in here. Any of you who've seen Oniric show off his decks, he loves the 42 card deck. But yeah, this is a build by Oniric. There's some variation in this. This is not the standard list by any means, but I've been enjoying this list so far. I've had success with it. But a couple of important synergies in here. First of all, we have a Zelhua the Builder. At Star of Return, it can heal our artifacts, and it also gets +1/+1 whenever we create an artifact. So that's a good card for keeping our artifacts in play. Also, model duality, a couple of really, really good synergies in here. We have, of course, the twins, Twin Block, Twin Juna. Play one, get a token the other. Play a token for free. Boom, there's your 2 minions. The Scourge of Serpents, you can play that out. That puts a couple minions on the board. You draw a card. Also, the Godsbane Transport, put out a couple soldiers, draw a card. Eager Recruit, play one, get the token, draw a card. So, ideally, we want to get our model down as early as we can. It sometimes feels a little awkward to play this out on turn 4. We'll have to see what the board state is like. But I would say this is more often maybe at turn 5, turn 6 play, because then you can play the model and then play out, a recruit or something like that along with it too. But yeah, this is a really, really solid deck. Very controlling type of deck. We also run Mend as our power. And honestly, Mend, it's fine. I might be willing to try this out with Impel or something like that, but the life gain with Mend has worked out really well in our favor. And since we have 2 copies of Wander Drug, I'm not too concerned about our life total that much. And also a Llama Ring, very important to this deck. If we can get a Llama Ring down early, we can usually smash our opponents very quickly. But yeah, overall, this is a really strong deck. Not cheap by any means, but I will make sure I leave the link in the description below. You can check out Oniric's build yourself and check out some of the other builds out there as well. There's a lot of variety to this deck, and overall, this is really, really solid, really excellent to play on the ladder. I don't think it has a bad matchup anywhere. It's good against aggro, it's good against mid-range, and it's also pretty good against other control decks. I will say, though, red-orange mid-range, I would say it's very good against, but red-orange can give it a little bit of trouble, especially if they get a really explosive hand. Because we are playing control, as you can see from our mana curve, we don't have a lot of 1-drops, we don't have a lot of 2. It'll be turn 3 before we really dive into the action. And if we don't have a Misanthropia or some way to control the board early on against an aggressive deck, this can get into a little bit of trouble. But I don't think that's untypical of any aggro versus control matchup in general. So overall, very good deck to play on the ladder. And I'm done yammering on about this. So let's get into the replays and let's see how this deck does. Our first match is going to be against El Capitan 449, playing red-orange mid-range, and I swear there are 2 colors in this deck, I just didn't draw any here. Right, I burned an orange card here, because originally I thought I'd play out the Ghoul, but then when I realized the opponent didn't have any threats on board, I figured I'd play out the Lamp, that way I can start fixing my draws when I need to.
Hey there.
So our opponent doesn't seem to be off to a blazing fast start. Generally, when you're playing a mid-range deck and you identify your opponent as a control deck, you want to go a little more aggressive. And likewise, if you're playing mid-range and you see your opponent's an aggro deck, you want to go a little more controlling. But our opponent's mostly playing orange here, so they're playing the more mid-rangey, grindy type of game. Right, we'll take out the recruit. Put a Shadowvar in front of their Shadowvar. And if they attack into us, I can just attack it next turn and we'll trade. Spare at the gates, so potentially have 2 trades next turn. Although I could play out the Shadowvar next to mine, and theirs would deal no damage, so I'd be able to take it out that way, but I didn't think it was really worth fighting over. I'll save Shadowvar for another target if need be. So I'll just make the trade. Use the power, gain a life. And Ghoul is not a great card for this matchup. Red-Orange doesn't have any Boneyard synergies, so they're not going to be looking to bring anything back from the Boneyard. So, I mean, 2-3 is a 2-3, but it really doesn't have text in this matchup. I'm going to play out the Herald of Pestilence. That'll take out the Daring Trapezist. And they'll have to 2-for-1 it if they want to take it out. They have an Extract Life. And then they crash into it with Shadowvar, so it'd be nice if the Herald live, but I'll take the 2-for-1. Let's play out the Serendipity of Free. Pick a card to draw next turn. And the plan here is going to be to play out the Sign of Pride, use the Pride of Place token on the Recruit, and pump it up to a 4-4, again for extra damage. Looks like the opponent's looking to trade. And nope, not really. So there's the Wings of Abaddon. So now I kind of have to use the Pride of Place token on the wings before it gets out of hand. We draw Godsbane Transport, we draw Zelia. So I use Pride of Place on it. Get in for 1. And our opponent clears their side of the board by attacking into us and then drops the 7-ring ritual. So I need a way to deal with all these 3/1s. And I draw the Misanthropia, but I'm actually not going to use it here. I have the Godsbane Transport. That can potentially 3 for 1. So the opponent's not going to have enough damage to do lethal to us. But they also have an Extract Life, so I'm only going to be able to block 1. But even still, I'll be down to 10. So if they have another Rush minion or 2, I'm okay with that. Because I want to be able to Misanthropia as many of their minions as possible. So I'm playing a little bit loose with my life total. And they don't play another minion, but we have the Misanthropia, so we'll just wipe them out. Now we have the Wonder Drug in hand, which is the best draw in the deck for this situation. Now if they're able to hit me for a couple points of damage, I can play it out, draw 2, and gain 8 life. And there's another Misanthropia, so our control plan is kind of coming together. Gonna try maybe 2 for 1. But there's Wings of Abaddon, so there goes that idea. Just gonna eat the token. Crash into our Meso. There's Iron Belly Wyvern. And maybe a little bit of mistake by the opponent not playing around our Wonder Drug. But we do have the other Misanthropia, so I guess it doesn't really matter in the end anyway. And I'm going to play out the Serendipity Ifrit because our opponent may have something like an Armageddon Angel, which they've drawn enough cards. It's certainly a possibility. And I want to make sure I have some kind of removal to be able to deal with it. So there's Wonder Drug. There's Model Duality, which is going to let us draw 2 cards every turn. So at this point, I'm just happy to make the trade. I don't want to lose too much life to the Ifrit. I want to get my Eager Recruit, get at least a little bit of damage online because our opponent's way ahead in life. So if I draw another minion, I can draw 2 next turn. I'll take 3 from the Trapezist. There's Clay Effigy, so we definitely have 2 minions. Play an Effigy, draw a card. There's another Seal of Exile, play out the Recruit, draw another card off the model. There's Scourge of Serpents. I'm going to let the opponent attack into me first, but when you only have minions with 2 health, that's good, but uh-oh. Played the Recruits, too close together, got punished. I've done that on this channel before, and I'm a slow learner, what can I say? So let's play out the other Wonder Drug, draw a couple of cards. Alright, Zolia's good pickup. That'll help us control the board. Cool, not as good a pickup, but a minion's a minion. Alright, there's another Magmatar, so once again we get 2 for 1 by it. At least I know what I want to target now with the Seal of Exile. Purely strategic, not out of spite by any means. So there goes Magmatar. Put out Zelia, that'll take out the Strigoi Pup. So we're able to clear their side of the board. Sign of Pride. And no shock where they're going to use Pride of Place. Got to neutralize that Zelia. And unfortunately, the Pride of Place token has really nowhere to go. So I'm just going to feed it to Sapo here. Make a nice big fat happy Sapo as a 10-10. Clay Effigy will draw another card. And we'll see if the opponent has a response. And of course they have the Gigantomachia, so Sapo was not long for this world. But of course I haven't hit my twins yet. I haven't played out Armageddon Angel, so I potentially have some other big minions that could be removed by Gigantomachia. So maybe it's just for the better. That was just a 1 for 1 there. I've got our minions nice and spread out. That way they don't have anywhere to go with their rush minions. We'll gain a little bit of life off our power. Our opponent's up to 35, so we've got a long way to go if we're going to come back from this. There's one of the twins. But for now, I just want to play the Olama Ring. Get in for some additional damage. Start chipping away at our opponent's life total. Then I'll put out my recruits. And because I played the Olama Ring, my Mesa Libre was able to survive attacking into the Wyvern. So I'll mend again, gain a little bit of life. They'll attack with the trapezes, drop a stairway. Trapezes will attack into my parry at the gates, then get in for 3. So that's why these two enchantments together are so powerful, especially with the rush minions. Our opponent was just able to remove 2 of our minions and get in for 3 damage because of it. So I'll play out both the twins. Be nice to still have the model of duality, but that's long gone. Get in for a little bit more. So we're chipping away at our opponent's life total. I am very aware that they may drop an Armageddon Angel on us, but if they don't have a rush minion to take out one of ours first, the angel is just going to die immediately upon impact. So they're able to 2-for-1 us using Stairway to Hades. We get another Olama Ring. We also have Zayula, so let's play the Olama Ring. We pump Zayula, make our minions bigger as well. So our opponent's down to 13. We're kind of doing it here. We're kind of coming back, but Armageddon Angel, if our opponent doesn't play it, we should be good in shape. They haven't hit it yet. All right, Lamp of Wonders. So that's a lamp that we put in our opponent's deck when we used it up. Godsbane Transport, that can help us clog up the board as well. We'll play Shadowvar, get in for a bunch more. Our opponent is down to 1. I'm sure somebody will point out where I missed a point of damage, but we've got our opponent on the edge here. I did not attack into the Shop 1 Bull, otherwise he would have Frenzy at the start of their turn, so be able to attack us twice. Don't want to let that happen, but our opponent's going to scoop. So we got a little bit lucky. They didn't hit the Armageddon Angel, but we survived a 7-ring ritual. We survived an onslaught of rush minions and the Heaven and Hades on board. So this deck, it took a little while, but once the late game hit, we were able to get the board under control and just kind of sneak in for the win. A Llama Ring helped us out a lot, being able to do a little extra damage. Kept some of our minions alive when they attacked into things. And just had to play a very careful control game with that one. Didn't want to let Red Orange Heaven and Hades do their thing. And, our opponent had over 30 life, and we were able to eventually chip away at that. So, very impressive win for this deck. Red Orange Heaven and Hades, still very good in the metagame. Very tough challenge to beat. So, let's see what we can do in the next game. And our final match is going to be against Slambill, playing Orange-Purple Midrange. Now we do have a couple artifacts in hand. Ideally, I would like to be able to get out that Model of Duality early. That way we can start drawing cards from it as soon as possible. But we have to be a little bit careful when we play it here. If our opponent's in control of the board and able to get in for damage pretty consistently, you might want to wait on the artifacts because chances are they're not going to last long if you're constantly taking damage. You also need to be careful what order you play them, because the most recent one will be the one taking the damage from the opponent. So just things to consider when playing with artifacts. Our opponent's not really able to get a threat to stick to the board. So far we're in pretty good shape. Alright, parse regular. If we wait till next turn, let the opponent attack into us, that will die because they'll be in winter. So right here I'm just going to play out the Model of Duality. Get in for 4 with the Ifrit. Okay, Raziel. Not a very good minion in this case because we're going to be drawing a bunch of cards off the model, so it's not really going to be able to get its energy up to its maximum. So we'll play out the Eager Recruit, and then we'll put a Parser Recruit in front of Raziel. That way he can't get in for damage. And we pick up a Seal of Exile, which is a great pickup. Alright, Solomon's Gale. Good thing we have Seal of Exile, otherwise that would have been tough to deal with. But we'll just exile it, get in for 6. So we're looking to be in pretty good shape here. Model Duality's already kind of paid off. We were able to draw a card with it. That's Spirit Away. So that's going to get tucked back in the deck as an 0-3. There's Aaliyah. We can start chipping away at that Raziel. Have it slowly wither up and die. Then we'll put our recruit token as our second minion, so now we'll draw a Sign of Pride off the model of Duality. Shadow of our Beast. So our opponent's starting to swarm the board here, especially with their Screaming Goats. And unfortunately, we just top-decked the Misanthropia. So let's play that out, just wipe the board. Sword Saint, that's going to put a Biting Blade in their hand. That's something we got to be careful of. Right, Sign of Pride. And Zolia's going to be dead next turn. We could technically use the Pride of Place on Zolia, make it a 4/4. That would also remove the Blight on it. But our opponent has all this equipment. They might draw something like a Tarragon or something large that we might want to cut down. So I think it's better to wait on using the Pride of Place. We wouldn't get a whole lot of benefit out of using it on Zolia there. Right, and there's our Sapo. So let's see if they're able to deal with it. And they got their own Sign of Pride. So, yep, Pride of Place on Sapo. Probably one of the most common targets for that Pride of Place. But we'll use the Pride of Place on their Sign of Pride. So now we can trade because it no longer has the immunity to spirits. Wonder Drug, just draw a card here. Get Orbital Jamming Satellite. That could be interesting. That'll also serve as some protection for our model. Parry at the gates. Opponent draws a couple of cards. They're going to put the Squire Pike on the Sword Saint. Trade with the Ghoul. But we draw a couple of minions, so just going to clamp down that Parry at the gates. And draw into another Misanthropia, because we play another 2 minions this turn. So we're getting some great cards off of our model of Duality. Press a regular on the red cliff, so that's going to do some damage, so now we'll have to trade. Insurance Broker, that's going to draw the opponent some cards. So what I'm going to do here is I'll make the trade, then play Orbital Jamming Satellite, use it on the Insurance Broker. So as you can see, Insurance Broker is now suppressed, so they can't draw cards off of it this turn. It's a big old Tarragon. Alright, Llama Ring's not looking too good, so I'm just going to bring that here, and then Misanthropia. Wipe the board clean. Then after Misanthropia, play out the Shadow of our Beast. I used the Misanthropia because they really don't have too many cards in hand. As you saw, they didn't have any minions at the time I played it. I didn't know that, but I was assuming they didn't have much to do because it's mostly just equipment plus a token. So I used the Orbital Jamming Satellite on the Tarragon. That way it wouldn't go back to their hand when it died, but when you use suppress something, you take away the good with the bad. So this actually no longer has Blight, so that was kind of an oops on my part. I got a Lamp of Wonders out, so now I'm able to filter my draws for the next few turns. Right, there's the third red cliff, so except for one spot, we're going to be taking damage whenever they play out a minion. Alright, we got our twins. That plays nicely with the model of Duality also. Play one twin, play the other, draw a card. Godsbane Transport, that can start flooding the board at some point. But for now, I'm just going to clamp down the Tarragon. That way it can't get through for damage. Also important to note they have the Biting Blade in hand. So if they give it the Pearl and Biting Blade, it'll get Overrun and they'll be able to gain a ton of life off of it. But we just top-decked Seal of Exile, so bye-bye Tarragons. Play the Llama Ring, boost our minions. And let's get in for lethal. So that time it was the artifacts that won the day. Mostly it was the model duality. We were able to get it out early, draw a bunch of cards. Orbital jamming satellite helped us out. Lamp of Wonders helped us filter our draws. So we were able to control the board using our artifacts, and that's typically what this deck wants to do. It has some nice synergies between its minions and the artifacts it uses, especially all the things like the recruits and the twins when you're playing Model of Duality to draw a bunch of cards. So overall, this is a very fun deck. This is a very good control type deck. Has a lot of ways it can win the game. And it's mostly just, a good solid control with a few very good artifacts thrown into it as well to help you out. So overall, very good on the ladder, very competitive. This was Tier 1 last season, and I imagine it'll be Tier 1 this season, but with the patch for Purple coming up later this month, who knows? Things may change, but for now, Aztec Control, very firmly in control of the metagame. So that's going to be it for me today. I will be back again next week with another Casual Tuesday and another ladder time. So that's all I've got. Follow me on Twitter, as always. I appreciate it. Let me know what you thought of this video, what you think of this deck. You can leave a comment below. And until then, you guys have a good day. I'll see you next time.